Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. Welcome to the Crypto Conversation. It is time for the Crypto Conversation weekly market sentiment report. Just going to have a quick look through the wonderful world of crypto Twitter to see what is going on, what are the headlines, what is the market doing. Just a bit of fun. As always, best place to watch this is on the Brave New Coin YouTube channel because I got my camera on, going to have a look at some tweets. But as always, you can also of course, listen to this as a regular podcast on Spotify or Apple. All right, are you ready? Let's get on with it. So if we start over here at, excuse me, if we start over here at Brave New Coin, what can we see? Well, Bitcoin is down to 38,700 on the Bitcoin Liquid Index. And Ethereum is down to 2,645 on the Ethereum liquid index. So yeah, bit of a drop overnight as we start the week. Depending on where you are in the world, it's Monday for me. It'll be Sunday night for other places in the world. What's happening with the crypto fear and greed index? Back into fear. I mean, yeah, we started most of the start of the year really was extreme fear. We got back to neutral last week, I think, as the market recovered a little bit, slipping again back down to fear. And look, I mean, you can see it on the Coin360 heat map, just a sea of red, so not a lot of confidence in the market at the moment, and I think there's probably a few reasons for that. Why is crypto market sentiment returning to negative again? Why is the market down? Well, it's quite simple, folks. The Queen, I'm afraid, has tested positive for COVID. Yes, did you see this? Queen Elizabeth II, she's 95 years old, and I'm afraid she is positive for COVID-19. I mean, you got to feel bad for the Queen. I hope she pulls through. You wouldn't wish this on anyone you knew, whether it was your nana, your grandma, your ma, anyone of 95 years of age. That is a serious risk factor for COVID. So look, I think we'll all be thinking of the Queen. Hopefully she can pull through, but I'm afraid it just gets worse, folks. Yes, Justin Bieber also testing positive for COVID-19. He's had to postpone some US tour dates, so that really has had quite a strong impact on the market. All right, I'm only half serious, guys. Of course, the real reason for this is war. Yeah, war. The Ukraine-Russia crisis. As the New York Times headline at the moment is, the US has learned of a Kremlin order to proceed with the invasion, officials say. So, yeah, I mean, look, we've heard all this before. Is it possible that Russia could back down? Anything's possible. But, you know, I think this tweet thread here is quite a good one. I mean, there's any million Twitter threads you can pull out. No one really knows what's going on, but I think this is as good an analysis of any. So this guy Jesse Kelly kind of poses the question that everyone's been asking. The question being, if Putin was going to invade, why is he waiting so long? The troops are there, everything is ready. Why wait? And so this James Griffin guy says, well, because Putin has really spent the last 2 months setting up one of the cleanest invasion plans of the last 70 years. They're pulling out all the stops and covering all their bases. And someone says, or perhaps Putin actually has no plans to invade. But James says, no. The ministry or the generals, they've put too much effort into their setup for Putin to even think about aborting this operation now. Even he would risk being assassinated by uniformed higher-ups if he were to call this off. And I won't go through the rest of it, but I think it's kind of on the money. I mean, for good or bad, Putin, Russia, they've put so much time, energy, resource into lining up all these military assets, and yeah, I think he's just going to pull the trigger. He wants Ukraine. He's not prepared to let the Ukraine have any chance of slipping over into NATO. And that's it. It's a red line for Russia. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Now, I don't pretend to be a military analyst. This could all be wrong, but yeah, I think all signs point to war at the moment, and that's what is happening in the market. Markets are pricing this in. I'm sure the stock markets, when they open tomorrow, you'll see a similar slide into the red. Now, Alex Kruger, he has got a framework for trading the Russian invasion. He says if Russia announces de-escalation, there would be a strong rally. However, that de-escalation is looking less and less likely. He says if Russia invades eastern Ukraine, which is what looks like happening, there'll be a sharp drop and then a bottom soon after. But if Russia were to invade western Ukraine as well, then there's going to be serious sustained carnage in the markets. So yeah, good cheery stuff. Nothing but good news here on the Crypto Conversation today. So if we just check in on the Bitcoin chart, yeah, we can see just a fairly steep decline over the last few days as this this Russian invasion of the Ukraine looks more likely. I mean, I like to follow Dave the Wave on Twitter. Dave the Wave, very talented, objective, technical analyst. This is Dave's chart, so you know we had been in this sort of descending channel right back since that hitting that all-time high in November. Been all downhill since then, and then you know we hit a bottom. Where was that? Just sort of a little bit over 30k, and we started an upward channel, so that was looking good. But now we've broken back down out of that, and yeah, I mean, where's the bottom? I don't know, but you know, do we go back and probably steep into the 30s below that? That's a hard to sell. I don't know, but could be some good buying opportunities ahead if that we keep going lower in the short term. Okay, what else is happening? Well, as well, I mean, the other big thing, of course, apart from you know what's happening in the Ukraine and the ongoing pandemic around the world, you know, there's because of the pandemic, there's increasing tension, protests everywhere, no more so than in Canada. So interesting times in Canada. You've probably seen that Justin Trudeau has tried to block the ability of the Canadian truck drivers that protest from interacting with the global financial system. He's trying to close down bank accounts and so on. So Jeff Garzak here says we are witnessing a pivotal moment in the history of the development of the modern algorithmic authoritarian state. Say the wrong thing, donate to the wrong list, or sorry, to the wrong cause, and you get added to the list. You get debanked without trial, unable to pay your bills, buy food, feed your family, all that good stuff that you need to do to be a citizen in the modern world, and that is under threat if you protest in Canada at the moment. So pretty stark stuff, really. And of course, Punk6529, this is a good tweet. You know, he writes, if Canada was a non-Western country, you'd see headlines like Canadian strongman Justin Trudeau uses extrajudicial measures to suppress domestic dissent using sweeping emergency powers. Trudeau has called for a complete financial system blockade of his domestic opponents and their families, because that's effectively what he's doing. So, of course, what did the truck drivers do? Well, they turned to Bitcoin. They said, you know, can we get some donations in Bitcoin? As a result, the Canadian Federal Police are now calling for FinTrack to block over 30 of the major Bitcoin wallets from transacting with major financial institutions. So, again, pretty dark. So Balaji says that, you know, because David Sachs says crypto isn't enough here, you know, politics is needed as well. Balaji says my counter argument is that Bitcoin and Web3 provides the crucial philosophical and technological base for pro-freedom advocacy. And the examples would be Wyoming, Miami, and El Salvador. And Samson Mao says, at least now people should start to realize why central bank digital currencies are such a horrible idea, because when you become an enemy of the state, which is quite easy to do these days, all of your money can instantly be seized, captured, or frozen. Bitcoin is the separation of money and state, while central bank digital currencies are the complete integration of money and state. And well, Samson is not wrong here. Imagine if Canada had a central bank digital currency that all their citizens were using. They could instantly just turn off the tap to anyone that they suspected of engaging in a protest against the state. And really, that's kind of the headline. That is the big picture here. That's what we're fighting for. That is one of the core principles of Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin was started, and why its existence as the largest, most decentralized, censorship-resistant sovereign digital currency in the world is so important. So it's just fascinating to see all this stuff actually come to pass in the world, only 13 years into Bitcoin's existence. Even Dr. your old mate Jordan Peterson is fast turning into a Bitcoiner. So Punk6529 wrote a great thread. I'm not going to go through the thread, but it's on Twitter. You can see it there, basically saying that, any state that will go as far as banning their citizens from transacting in their local fiat currency, well, that's a dangerous point to tip across, and Jordan Peterson agrees, and he says, read this thread please and think about electronic fiat money. He means central bank digital currencies, and think about why Bitcoin is so important, so valid, and so necessary as a competitor currency, and understand that the state enemies of Bitcoin are not your friends. So again, I mean, this is all, pretty volatile stuff from both sides, but again, it just goes to show that how far Bitcoin has come. Bitcoin is fast becoming a major player at a nation-state level. No one knows this more than Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, often painted by Western democracies as a kind of authoritarian dictator, and to be fair, he has some of those tendencies. But President Bukele says, "I'm sending 52 legal reforms to Congress to remove red tape, reduce bureaucracy, create tax incentives, and my plan is simple: as the world falls into tyranny, we will create a haven for freedom." So I think the point here is, if you've got guys like President Bukele criticizing Western democracies for being authoritarian tyrants, man, maybe you should take a look at yourself in the mirror. And it's just what a crazy world we live in. The world is turning upside down, and it's happening faster than we thought. I mean, the Queen has COVID, Justin Bieber has COVID, and you've got authoritarian dictators flying the flag for Bitcoin and for freedom, whereas the Western democracies going down a dangerous path. Goodness me. And of course, you've got celebrities on every side getting amongst as well, whether they're getting into NFTs, or in the case of Daniel Baldwin, one of the Baldwin brothers, brother of Alec. He, of course, had dinner with President Bukele in El Salvador. He says he's planning to bring the film and television industry and much more to El Salvador. Man, I don't know who wrote this timeline. Who created this simulation? It's getting wild out there, folks, and 2022 it's just going to get wilder. Meanwhile, NFTs, OpenSea, we're still getting to the bottom of exactly what happened, but there was some kind of smart contract exploit or phishing attack involving perhaps MetaMask or the smart contracts on OpenSea or not. We still don't really have a clear picture of what has happened, but Web3 NFTs, it's MetaMask, it's also new, and there's so many new users interacting with NFTs, and man, it is the Wild West out there. There are scammers out there, smart contract artists just lining up to try and scam people and take your money, take your ETH and take your NFTs. So just be careful out there, folks. If you're engaging with OpenSea or NFTs using MetaMask, always be careful what you're signing, and if in doubt, use the tool, something like revoke.cash. You can go to this website and you can essentially revoke some of those transactions you may have signed. But if you make sure you know what you're doing as well, Google it. All right, let's finish this off, folks. It's been all bad news today, really, as I suppose you'd expect when the Queen goes down with COVID, Justin Bieber goes down with COVID, and Mr. Putin is readying the tanks, it would seem. So with all this happening, we could perhaps expect some downside in the markets, I think, to be fair. But can we be bullish in the medium term, the long term? I hope so. I mean, Suzu seems to think so. He says, 90% of my bottom signal list that I wrote down has been hit. We may go lower from here due to headlines or whatever, but I think the bull case for Bitcoin has never been stronger, says Suzu, and I think 2x all-time high within a few months as well within reach. It does seem unusually bullish. When did he write this? February 19th, so that was 2 days ago. I don't know if that changes things. I mean, even 2 days ago, it looked like war is likely, but maybe war is, I'm not being facetious when I say a quick war is a good war. No one wants a long war, so it's more like get in, prove your point, and get out with, the least impact on kind of human life and human suffering as possible, really. It would be the optimum solution, and then we can all kind of get back to living life in this crazy year of 2022. All right, any other hopium for the good stuff on a longer term time horizon? I like this thread, I thought was interesting. It's by Jurian Timmer. He makes the case that Bitcoin has been in a choppy trading range for almost a year, just bouncing between 30k and 65k. Just in a range, really. Not bullish, not bearish. He's just saying, for the short term, it's just noise, but in the long term, the network is what matters, and he makes the case that it's up and to the right. And, he basically uses the case of, so here he's looking at where the demand curve is going, and he says the demand curve is up and to the right, and he's showing that with the number of Bitcoin addresses that are more than 0, and the number of those Bitcoin addresses is up and to the right, following a simple power regression curve. So then he says, he looks at, it's basically the Metcalfe's law argument, basically saying the bigger the Bitcoin network goes, the more value an individual Bitcoin should hold. And he uses the example of Apple's network, this Apple market cap there, and what else? Yeah. Okay, so he's using the argument of Apple mobile phone subscriptions and internet adoption, the old kind of S-curve. And essentially he's saying as more people use the Bitcoin network, it should follow either one of those two paths. So, it's just both are bullish. It's just how bullish do you want to get? You can dig into the data here, but it's very similar to a kind of logarithmic long-term logarithmic growth channel, or stock to flow, or whatever the rainbow chart, whatever your favorite Bitcoin super bullish long-term chart is. They all go up and to the right to some extent, don't they? So it's just a bit of fun, but I thought that was interesting. All right, we better leave it there. Best of luck to the Queen, thinking of the Queen, and also Justin Bieber. But that's today's show. Everyone, we'll be back next week, hopefully with better news. But that's it for today. Thanks for listening. This was the Crypto Conversation for a brave new kind.